On the investigation, the Democratic break-in thing, we're back in the problem area because the FBI is not under control because Gray doesn't exactly know how to control it. And they have, their investigation is now leading into some productive areas because they've been able to trace the money, not through the money itself, but through the bank, sources, and the banker himself, and it goes some directions we don't want it to go. Also, there have been some things like an informant came in off the street to the FBI in Miami with a photographer who has a friend who's a photographer who developed some films for this guy Parker, and the films had pictures of Democratic National Committee letterhead documents. So there's things like that that are filtering in. Mitchell came up with yesterday, and John Dean analyzed very carefully last night and concurs now with Mitchell's recommendation that the only way to solve this, and we're set up beautifully to do it, in that the only network that paid attention to last night was NBC, who did a massive story on the Cuban thing and all. But the way to handle this now is for us to have Walters call Pat Gray and just say, stay the hell out of this. This is business here we don't want you going any further on. That's not an unusual development. And that would take care of it. Pat does want to. He doesn't know how to, and he doesn't have any basis for doing it. Given this, he will then have the basis. He'll call Mark Bell in, and the two of them, and Mark Bell wants to cooperate because he's ambitious. They'll call them in and say, we've gotten the signal across the river to put the hold on this. And that'll fit rather well because the FBI agents who are working the case at this point feel that's what it is the CIA. But they're tracing the money to. Well, they've traced it to a name, but they haven't got to the guy yet. Kent Dahlberg, Minnesota. He said he gave $25,000 in Minnesota, and the check went directly in to this guy Parker. Maybe he's he did it. I mean, this committee always stands. Yeah, it's directly traceable. And there's some more through some Texas people that went to the Mexican bank, which they can also trace through the Mexican bank. They'll get their names today. And well, I mean, there's no way that I'm just thinking if they don't cooperate, what do they say? They were approached by the Cubans, and that's what Dahlberg has to say, and the Texans too. If they will, but then we're relying on more and more people all the time. That's the problem. And they'll stop if we take this other step. And they seem to be able to do is to get them to stop. Right, fine. They say the only way to do that is a White House instruction, and that it's got to be to Helms and what's his name? Walters. And the proposal would be that Erwin and I call him in. All right, fine. And say, how do you call him in? Well, we protect Helms on a hell of a lot of things. That's what everything is. This is a hunt tool. That'll uncover a lot of legal net scandals, a lot of things. And we just feel that this is very detrimental to have this thing going further. This involves these Cubans and a lot of hanky-panky that we have nothing to do with ourselves. What the hell? Did Mitchell know about this thing? I think so. I think he knew the details, but I think he didn't know how it was going to be handled with Dahlberg and Texas and so forth. Well, who was the asshole that did that? Is it Liddy? Is that the fellow? He must be a little nuts. Yeah. I mean, he just as well screwed on as he had a problem. So he was under pressure, apparently, to get more information. And as he got more pressure, he pushed the people harder to move harder on pressure from Mitchell, apparently. Oh, Mitchell is that point that you think and said, well, you do something, yeah. All right, fine. I understand it all. We won't second guess Mitchell and the rest. Thank God it wasn't Colson. The FBI interviewed Colson yesterday. They determined that would be a good thing to do, to have him take an interrogation, which he did. And the FBI guys working the case had concluded that there were one or two possibilities. One, that this was a White House. They don't think there's anything about the election committee. They think it was either a White House operation that had some obscure reasons for it, non-political, or was the Cubans and the CIA. And after their interrogation of Colson yesterday, they concluded it was not White House, so they're now convinced it's a CIA thing. So the CIA turnoff would. Well, I must have done Helms. I said that. You call